Good morning, Chaverim. Likoutei Moharan Zayin. Good morning, Likoutei Moharan Zayin. Tinyana, Mahamam Yenagem. We're holding in Ot Vav at the bottom. And we started to say, again, a recap. Yoni, you want the recap of the Torah?
Yes, please.
The tzaddik is Rahman. The tzaddik has pity. Your doctor, the tzaddik is merciful. The mercy of the tzaddik, the pity that he has, is a pity associated to the next world. The next world, if you come without baggage, you're stuck. If a guy doesn't prepare before Shabbos, he won't have food on Shabbos. If a guy doesn't, it's not true, prepare for his retirement, he'll have retirement. Hashem will help take care of him. But you know what the going think. If you don't prepare this world, Torah and mitzvahs, you get there, you're lacking. If you have averot, it's a major problem. The tzaddik sees that. So his pity is to save Am Yisrael from sin. His whole inyan is to save them from sin, either by teaching them or praying for them. To forgive them from the deen that's on them. And the way he does that is giving dat. The way he helps you to stop sinning is to give you information, dat, knowledge, Torah, awareness. Ata oret el hadat ki Hashem unukim. That there's God in the world. Everything is from Him. When He does that, He's helping you. You should be like Him. You should give dat to people. And guess what? When you give dat to people, you're actually helping yourself. Because the way it works is that when you give over what you know, you free up room in your mind to receive new information. A new hasaga, a new chidush. And if you're involved in giving over, so you're involved in receiving new downloads. You empty up this to make a sale to sell the old merchandise, and you have new merchandise coming. You can't put in new merchandise. Empty up to give. So by giving and teaching, you're actually allowing yourself to have more knowledge. The chidush is that even when a person passes away, he can still be involved in this aspect of giving and getting. Because when you teach a child, or you teach a student, or you teach a friend something, so now what you did is you gave over your dat to him. If he lives that dat and shares that dat with others, if he internalizes it and becomes, he's giving over. I heard from my Rebbe, heard from his Rebbe, heard from his Rebbe, heard from his Rebbe, heard from Rabbeinu. So that Rabbeinu is dressing up in all of those people. And if you're one of the conduits in the chain, you're also dressing up in the people below you. What we're learning now, that we're saying Divrei Rabbeinu, Rabbeinu is dressing up in our Diburim to give this message. Nimsa, that the Rebbe, or if I heard from Rav Kenning how to explain this, so Rav Kenning is mitlabesh in our Dibur. He's giving you the Dibur, not me. But I have a suit that I'm a conduit in it. And so I have a part of that chain as well. So it turns out that after 120 years, you can still be involved in growth. Hashem's real pleasure is this world, where there is a lot of difficulties and a lot of challenges, and a person with his free will can overcome them and do the right thing. There, when there's no free will and there's no free will, there's not much reward. There's a small free will after Mashiach, but much less. So the tzaddik still wants to be involved in this world. How are you involved in this world? By having a Talmud, giving it over to him. So that's called a makif, a pnimi and a makif. What you know is pnimi, what you don't know is makif. When you give over what you know, you receive what you don't know, makif. And there's infinite levels of wisdom and knowledge, of closeness, proximity to Hashem that you could attain in this world. It's non-stop. Because Hashem is infinite, so the levels that you could reach are infinite. That's simple. Now there are levels in this world and there are levels in the next world. In this world where we are limited by time, we are limited in time and space, but time is a fiction of the imagination, it's a creation, it's not true. Time is not a real element. Time is a creation. In the next world there is no time. But still in this world there is time. And to explain concepts, it's within time. there are certain concepts which there's not enough time in the world to explain them to you. For example, if you have a child, you're a big, you're a learned person, and you understand the Tosfot, and you understand the Marshan, the Tosfot, and the Rambam, how he's mecholek in the Tosfot, and you understand the Ashlachot in the Halacha, you know how it comes out in the Halacha, and the Nafkaminas, and you know all that, because you studied a lot. Now you have a 5-year-old kid, you think you can explain it to him? Smart kid, doesn't have the mind capacity to understand it. And you, when you were 5, you also didn't have that. So there's certain things that even if you sit with a kid for 1 full year, he will not be able to understand what you're telling him. You can tell him a pasuk, and if you try to take a baby and try to tell him a pasuk, he's not going to understand as well. At 3 years old, you can teach him an alphabet. And the next year, you can teach him words, and then you can put the words together. You can give him an idea. Then you can have a question at pasuk at 7, and then you can show him a Rashi at 8, and then you can show him a Mishnah. You can show him a Gemara. So everything according to the level of the person. There's hasagot that are within time or without time. There are hasagot of the Chacham Hagadol that there's not enough time in the world. There's the hasaga v'onam haba. There's the hasaga of the next world. There's no time over there. And the way that we determine time over there, even though there's no time, is the size of the hasaga, the size of the knowledge of the download. And all this we're going to need for the future, for the rest of the Torah. So, let's read this again together. In Otvav, near the bottom. Nimana min hakol, hema makifin ha'inyonim shel chacham ador. The highest makif is the makif of the tzaddik ador, the chacham ador. שעל ידי שזה הרבי והחכם שבדור עוסק לדבר עם תלמידיו מכניס מהם דעתו. The tzaddik, the rebbe, the chacham, he's not calling him tzaddik over here, he's calling him rabbi, calling him chacham, because wisdom, the sign of the tzaddik, which is the wisdom of the tzaddik, is called chokhmah. It's the same thing. Tzidkut is his personal avodah. His fasting, his not sleeping, his chesed. But chokhmah is to teach. Rebbe is a teacher. Rosh B'nai Yisrael is the Rosh. לדבר עם תלמידיו מכניס בהם דעתו, על ידי זה נכנסים למקיפין שלו לפנים. And even though we read this before, we're doing it again. His makif is coming in. Because like we said, anybody on their level, you teach something, you get more knowledge. It's clear to you. The teacher himself, during the shir, becomes more clear in the shir. He sort of understands it before, but he gets much more clarity while he's teaching. Happens all the time. I see when I teach a daf Gemara, I know it much better than if I learn it by myself. Even if I learn it 3 times, 4 times by myself, it's not as good as if I learn it twice and teach it once. I can learn it 3, 4, 5 times by myself, it's not as good as if you teach it once. It's because you're getting the makif. You're teaching, so you're getting makifim. So it's strengthening the understanding. The kusha. Today we had a kusha in the Gemara. You get a kusha and understand something. That's a makif. The problem in the Gemara is also makif. In the beginning you thought everything is clear. It makes sense. Now you're on a higher level of understanding. You understand that there's a problem in the Gemara. So here, makifin sheno b'chinat arichut yamim mishanim. So the makif of the chacham is called length of days, length of years. Why is it that? Why do we call it that? Because what the tzaddik is understanding in this world, he has reached all levels of understanding in this world. So the level that the makif that he gets is already not a makif of this world. It's a makif of the next world. It's an understanding, a saga, a concept of the next world. Shul yom shekulo aroch. Which there, it's an infinite day. There's no time. There, there's no time. It's above time and space. All the time this world doesn't compare to 1 second of the next world. Like we explained last time, if you have a kid, he's 5 years old and you're driving to my daughter, she doesn't want to go to Lakewood. She cries when we tell her we're going to go to Lakewood because it's too long for her. A kid between one birthday and the next is an infinite amount of time. At 50 years old, 40 years old, the birthday's like just finished. It's done. 2 years ago, it's like just yesterday, right? Because the more you have that, the less time seems real. So the next world, you have so much that, there's no more time. In a dream, you can be dreaming for 15 seconds, Abin said, and it feels like days and weeks and months and years. But it's nothing. So since you have very little dat when you're sleeping, so it seems like there's a lot of time. And the next world that there's full of dat, so there's no time. Shu yom shekulu aroch. So if the download you're getting is not already in this world, because you reached all levels of this world, so you're getting a download from the next world, which is above time and space. Once Reb Chaim Vital saw the Arizal sleeping on Shabbos in the afternoon, a little nap, and his lips were mumbling. It's written in Shifrei Ari. So Reb Chaim asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I was learning in Yeshiva Shel Mala. I was learning in the heavenly yeshiva. Can you teach me what you learned?" He said, "I could, but it would take me 70 years. Because in this world, I need to give you 70 years of introductions to explain to you something. To teach you a Tosfot, I need to teach you Aleph Bet. I need to teach you Patach Kamatz, Tzeret. I need to teach you words. I need to teach you Chumash. I teach you Mishnah. I need to teach you Gemara. I teach you Rashi. I need to teach you how Tosfot works. The Gemara over there and this Gemara over here, and the question between Tosfot and the answer based on this Gemara, and how to explain it based on that. If my son is now, I want to teach him a Tosfot. Now he's 8, so maybe it's getting closer. But imagine at 3 years old, it's going to take me 10 years to teach him a Tosfot. You understand? 10 years. That's because, but I'm in this world a little bit more advanced. But imagine you're getting downloads information from the next world. There you can learn in 15 seconds what it takes 70 years over here. So I'm going to need 70 years to teach you, he told him. So we can't do it. Do you understand where the Arizal holding? And even what he teaches is the tip of an iceberg. There are people that learn Kitvei Ari and Zohar and the Sidur and the Rashash. So the Arizal spoke about how the world was created, how the Hashem's light was mitzuntzam, it's the Ishtashlut, how we got to this finite, to this physical world. And he teaches how the mitzvot interact with the world, Priyatz Chaim, what it affects the world. And then there's the Kavanot, so there's a Sidur of Kavanot. The Sidur of Kavanot is like major. You ever saw the Mekubalim, they're turning pages and the Shemot, and some people don't know what they're doing, but some people, like the Arizal and the Rashash, and these ones that it's like the pshat for them, they're like going through, you know what they're going through when they're doing this. And so I heard from Rabbi Kenning that he said, and to learn that Siddur is like a lifetime. It's like you can be kollel every day to learn the Siddur. They learn the Siddur, the Rashash. How to do it, how to mikaven, Shema, and all the mitzvot and everything. So, Rabbi Kenning told me once that Rav Ephraim, that Shlita, that some say that the Arizal, what he wrote of the Kavanot is only for one day, but every day they change. But he could only give over one day in this world because I'm going to give you every day's Kavanot. But the Arizal really knew the Kavanot of every day because he would sleep and he would go up and he would know everything. But how can I tell it to you? It takes you a lifetime to learn one day of Kavanot.
It's a sagot.
It's a sagot. But it's a sagot of the next world. If you're able to go up to the next world and be out of time and space, so what you can do in 1 second, it's like infinite. It's infinite. So you understand what the Rebbe is, what the tzaddik is, that he has hasagot there. V'sham en shum zman. Ki hu b'chinat lemana me'azman. There it's above time and space. Seder hazmanim sheyesh sham. So how do we determine time in the next world? It's not about time. And b'chinat hasagot shel makifim, shesh makifim shem b'chinat yamim, yesh makifim shem b'chinat shanim. B'chinat tukufot hayamim tivgot hashanim. So we have psukim that say, the season of the days, the season of the years, but really it's referring to knowledge and new musagim that are available in this world. So how do you know if we could call that there's time there, which is not, but how do you call advancement in that place, which is called the next world? It's how big the download you got is. This is a big download, this is a small download. This is a day, this is a week, this is a month, this is a year, this is a millennium, century, millennium. But it just depends on the download you get. And I want everybody to internalize this. That is called how we determine time there. Even it's not time. Our understanding of time, if we could try to give a little hint of what it means over there, is the same way we have a day and a week and a month and a year. So there too, they have small asaga, big asaga, and that's called time there. But there's no time. And now listen to this. Vasagot, we said it last time, I wanted to drill it in. Vasagot hamakafim makifin halalu zeikar tanug shashua olam haba. The pleasure of the next world is that the main delight in Shashua. Shashua is like something that you're brand new, unexpected pleasure, delight, that you're just in ecstasy from this experience. The knowledge of God in the next world, that's the ecstasy. The same way here. Today we learned a lot of bazichin in the Gemara, we're going to see later. I'll read every day the Amar Abai, and I was always like a little bit mebulban, what's the bazichin? But now I understood clearly in the Rashi, we're going to see it tomorrow, what's the bazichin. I'm so happy to now finally know clearly what's the bazichin when it was. It was like some incense that we put on the bread, in the showbread in the Beit Mikdash, when we would burn it, what we do with it. I'm so happy to know that. Every piece of knowledge, a clarity, and simcha katarat asvekot. The biggest joy is knowledge. Even, by the way, in the regular world, like a scientist, the pleasure that he has in figuring out like an equation, like or a mathematician, some algorithm, and then to be able to use that after, he sees the guy going to eat a pizza. He says like for him it's like a fool. Like that's your whole life, a pizza and a French fries. But the guy loves his pizza and French fries. And for him, the algorithm is like Gan Eden. But if it's written like that in Chassidut, a bit in Chabad. Like a chess player. Somebody's playing chess, like the wisdom in a game of chess. I'm calculating 30 steps ahead, and if you do this, I already have 20 backups. You know the Gan Eden, like the pleasure? That they look at the pleasure, you're buying a car, a fancy car, like you're playing with a toy. Like a kid playing with a toy, it's a joke. Like you look at the kid with his toy, with his water gun, with his, wow, he's having such a geschmack. And you're like, if you know his geschmack, I'm traveling, I'm flying, I'm buying, I'm going to meals. The kid with his candy, with his bubble gum. You give a kid a bubble gum. But the guy who likes chess, and the guy's a scientist, and the guy's in the lab, and the guy's creating the AI, feels like the people, but imagine if it's godly wisdom. The guy who likes chess, come learn a Maramshif. Come learn a Marsha. If you knew a Marsha, the Gan Eden of the Marsha, the Gan Eden of a Maramshif, the Gan Eden of a Biur Rambam. Kol sheken if you get to Asagot Elokut. So the main, and that's in this world already. But the pleasure of the next world is these downloads, these understandings, these concepts. That's the Gan Eden. Ashrei Mishe Zocher Asigam. Praiseworthy is the person who has the merit of getting them, attaining them, receiving them. We're going to go on to the next part tomorrow. But before we do that, I want to point out something which seems to be true in the Torah. And this is a main point of the Torah. In this world, I teach you, I get a new information. What a pleasure. What a Gan Eden. Every week you get new chidushim, If sometimes I have to come to shul and say a Dvar Torah that's old for me, I don't have a geshmak. I have a lot of baggages, like I have a lot of stories and chidushim on this parsha, but if I have to recycle, because I didn't have time during the week to prepare something new, I don't have a geshmak on Shabbos. But if I found something new that's for me novel, wow, I never saw that before, I have a big geshmak to come to say it. Sometimes it's like a job. I gotta say, then it is a Dvar Torah. So I have what to say, and people might like it because for them new, but for me it's old. I don't have a geshmak. Somewhat, maybe always. The end beit midrash b'chidush. You always say in a different way. You connect something else with the Tosefet Biur, but it's not the same. When you have a new chidush, Sedash Shishit yesterday was a new chidush for me. You liked it? You weren't here. It was a nice chidush. But when you get something new, So giving over, you get new. But what happens when you pass away? So Rabbeinu said, you got to make sure that you're still here to give over. Because that's the tanug of Hashem. To help people. So make sure you told somebody some good things in his life that he's going to tell somebody else in his life. And so you're still like, you're helping. But guess what? We just made a connection now. A plus B. If in this world, you can only get new if you give over, so how do you go forward in the next world? You're not in a place of giving over. How do you get hasagot in the next world? Makifim in the next world? How do you get that? Seems to me, what the Rebbe is saying here, is that when you give over to a Talmud, and Rabbeinu said over that you dress up in the Talmud. So if I have a son and he's Talmud Chacham, and he's Tzaddik, and he's giving over what I taught him, after 120 years, so I'm dressing up in him. And when I'm dressing up in him, well, he's giving over, but I'm giving over through him. So I get the new makif in the next world. So if you understood how important it is to learn and to teach and to give over, for your future royalties in the next world to be able to go up there, you're stuck here if you don't have. So a guy does everything for himself, he learns for himself, everything for himself, he doesn't teach anybody, he doesn't do it, doesn't be ma'amid tamidim, so okay, whatever you got, but you're stuck there. But if you had tamidim and you did haftatzah and you taught and you gave and you, so then all the tamidim, all the people that you spoke to, every time they're doing, you're continuing to grow. So do you understand where Rabbeinu is now? Understand how he's getting? We'll save it for later, but understanding of Hashem, there is rachmanut of Hashem. So the tzaddik gets to new levels of rachmanut that he can bring down to the world after, because he's connected. Won't go too far, but at least he can meditate on this. Yom Tov Likulam.